Hey Gemini, welcome to Tourmaline Tarot. We're going to do your first half of June reading. This actually wants to be held this way. So, let's see. What are we doing, Gemini? Are we holding on to something? And we'll get into it in a second. Let's see what the other cards have to say about the Four of Pentacles. Yeah. You really care about something that might kind of be trying to close out on its own. But if you have two fours here, but if that stability changes, if that kind of what you're used to changes, then what does that mean? So there could be an element of you kind of not allowing this world situation to happen. You're like, no, I wasn't done yet. Because, yeah, just maybe you need to be done. Because this is moving into the 5. This is the change. This is kind of the resisting the change. This is the, I don't wanna. This is the feet drag. And it's almost like, I love you, Gemini, but there is a, oh, you're going to make me change. Watch this. So what is the confusion element here? So, 3 of Cups, but it was so good. It was fun. It was fine. It was just a good time. Why are we worried about this? Because there wasn't balance, and in some way you might be left, I'm not going to say left alone, but it's almost like party's over in a way, and it's like, but I don't, and like this balance thing, let's face it, like 6 of Pentacles is not my super favoriteest card because it's like, oh, balance and time and energy and where is it going? Like it kind of feels a little boring, right? But there are 2 6s. So if you can move out of this confusion of that 5 of Wands and get into this like 6 energy and still kind of let this emerge, don't get too bogged down in thinking about the past or something coming back or something coming back around or someone showing up again. Because this stability is achievable on your own terms and your own time and with your own effort. So, let me see if I'm talking out my Basinski, and let's do the 4 of Pentacles. You don't want it. And if we're just talking about a couple weeks, I don't think you can go full on 3 of Swords, but there is something that like you feel it coming. And there's a clarity that kind of comes with this middle sword. That can be you, a person, that could be you in a situation, and that sword down the middle is the one that's like, yeah, I hate to break it to you, but I hate that but part, right? So what is kind of coming down here? It was too many, but it was Queen of Pentacles, Page of Cups, and 4 of Swords. You're like, just let me go like take a nap. I don't want to talk about it. So this 3 of Swords, okay. What can that be? I'm like actually having to loosen up my shoulders here. All right. So I am going to take this, and the 3 of Wands was flat out reversed, so we are going to talk about it. So there is a new cycle. And you kind of don't want to wait, but also this is like not allowing the ships to come in. You're like, no, port's closed. Sorry. But it's like with the Sun and the High Priestess, you already know. Like you already have an inkling that this wheel's turning. And even though you're like, no, that you can't, the ships don't come here. I have enough ships. We're good. All the ships are fine. This port's great. You already know. So I'm not saying this is negative or this is going to be like some kind of ambush. You're being asked nicely at this point because there's no tower. There's nothing, none of this business. It's just like, Gemini, please. Like, please step into it. Oh, Gemini. Queen of Cups, 5 of Cups. It's almost like I'm getting a big, like, I wasn't finished. Like, you feel like you still had so much you could still do. But it's like, I don't want to start over. I don't want to have to put in, because once again, we're back to the 5s, which is like, here's the change point. And if we are going to start adding stuff up, she's got 1 cup, he's got 5, that's back to 6, which is that kind of loop of I'm thinking about past stuff. So I think you need to kind of shake it loose, or, shake up that snow globe and just kind of, reminisce, get it out of your system, and just kind of start looking towards the future. Yep. Okay. So here's my advice. You're stuck. Page of Wands. You got to take some action forward. You got to move forward. Knight of Wands is the actual moving forward. There's a little bit of taking action. There's, leave the blindfold on for a second. I'm not saying you got to rip the Band-Aid all at once, but there is an element of just needing to kind of like settle into this. There's an acceptance level that sometimes, the universe gets there faster than you do. And you're like, I wasn't done yet. It's like having a really good plate of food and someone like yoinks it out, like the busboy comes around and grabs the plate, but I wasn't done. Like And if you're like me, you eat things in order and you save that last bite for last. And I feel like you're being denied that last bite. Actually, I'm going to get greedy. We're going to go on the Six of Cups here. So what can Gemini do? Pick one thing at a time. The Eight of Pentacles is about work, right? And you have to work and be balanced and yada yada. Like I said, it's not sexy. There is no sizzle to that. And I know that stinks, but like, you got to pick one thing. Pick one thing at a time. And just the fact of moving, I think, could potentially be enough. Like moving forward, moving into something else, trying something else. And that allows you to kind of give you some breathing room for this new thing to kind of work its way in with the world. So let's go to the Oracle here. We have the Sun. Yeah, there's opportunity that's coming. Even if you're like, I was fine. I was okay with this. The Moon. There's a recognition that has to come with this, of this opportunity, which leads you into, all right, the ship that was longing but it didn't commit. But together, you just still don't know what it means. And with the Cupid, he's still stabbing you. There's still some kind of heart, not heartbreak, but there are emotions attached to moving on out of something. And if you don't know what it means on the other side with this clouds, you might be a little more hesitant, because I don't think the path has fully showed itself yet. So what can Gemini expect with the cloud business here? Yeah, I feel like with the Lion and the Rose, there's some kind of small offer that kind of gives you a little pointer. There's a little like directional sign that the universe throws up. It's like, hey Gemini, look over here. And you're like, what? Wait. Oh, okay. It's going to be kind of one of those moments where you're like, oh, it might not be a full, oh, but there's an element of like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And then you kind of feel like you can go off of that and build on those nods as you go. So what is Gemini getting recognition for with this Moon business? Okay, that's too many, but yeah, broken mirror. There's a different kind of perspective that has to click. This is like a Hanged Man card, because when a mirror breaks, you can't put it back together. There's no seeing it the same way again. And like, little pieces, like I said, the snow globe shaken, there's some kind of like settling that has to happen. And the broken mirror can be a little bit of a surprise. Like, no one ever expects to hear that sound, or like, when you drop a glass, you're like, oh, like, but in a weird way. Don't call me weird, but like, you kind of like the sound as well. You like it, but you don't like it at the same time, because you're like, I have to clean that up. But that sounded kind of cool. Like, don't call me a weirdo, but you know what I mean? Who's with me? And it kind of turns into, it might be something that you've wanted and maybe didn't articulate it, or it hadn't come all the way to the surface, because the Ship is kind of a long time coming card. Things kind of trickling around or kicking around in your head, and the Metal is finally the recognition of like, oh, so there's some switch that's going to flip for you that will allow this stuff to start coming. But initially, I feel like there is going to be kind of a little white knuckling, like please, just, I wasn't done yet. So now let's do Cosmic Pep Talk here. Give me something on that, please. Cosmic Pep Talk. What do we have? Amber. I'm like, it's like my favorite. So we have grounding, healing, cleansing, and balancing. It indicates a need for balance and healing in our life. Look to the past to shine a light on the future. Okay. I'm just saying. So, yeah, something's going to click, but the initial, it's like getting in a pool. You're just like, oh my God, this is cold, but then you kind of get used to it. Or like, oh my God, I don't want to be in here. But then it's like, all right, this is kind of cool. So, you know, Gemini, just stick through the first little bit, and I think you're going to see. Remember, just look for those baby road signs that kind of pop up, or like the universe being like, tink, 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 Gemini. So I think that's going to really kind of push you into a new thing. So Gemini, that's what I have, and I'll talk to you later.